Welcome to today's show. I'm so happy that you've joined us. As always, the show is suggested by you, it's for you, so come on to CourtneyAnderson.com and join in and let me know your ideas, and hopefully you'll see those on a future episode. Now today, we're going to talk about something that I'm going to try to balance it a little bit. Our overarching topic for today's show is how to make more money at work. And I think, of course, in these economic times when people are so nervous and rightfully so, a lot of change is happening in our overall macroeconomic situation and also in our personal opportunities. So that's the big topic. We're going to talk about some specific skills that either open up opportunities for us or that close opportunities for us. So I hope that you're open-minded, and as always, I'm going to try to be as pragmatic with you as I can. I wish I could tell you what you want to hear. I wish I could tell you that there's some kind of easy way to magically change things, but it's just not easy. But it is possible. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about money, moolah, big bucks, how to make them. So join me. Now, I have a very unique perspective on this. I was very fortunate that as a teenager, I'd finished high school at 17, and I went out to the big world, and I just knew so many wonderful things awaited me. Now, I was already focused and going to school because I knew I wanted to get an education, but I wasn't really financially savvy at all. I mean, I had very little knowledge about how money worked, how credit worked, how jobs worked, but I jumped out into the world, and I got my first job, and I remember I made $3.85 an hour, and wow, what I could do with that. I was dreaming big. The challenge is, off that, and a little bit of scholarship money that I had for school, I had to find a way at some point to pay for a place to live. I've learned early on, we all struggle getting to know ourselves, right? It's a lifelong process. Who am I? What makes me tick? And what do I want to do? And we all sort of struggle with that. And one of the things that I learned a little bit kind of early in the process is I like having a place to live. I really do. I mean, it makes me happy. It doesn't matter if it's a 300 square foot apartment. It doesn't matter at all. I just like having my own place to put my stuff. That makes me happy. So I'm willing to work and do what I can. And I know in the first couple of job experiences I had where I was a minimum wage hourly worker, the only way I could really make more money is, after a while sometimes they'd give you, a raise. Yeah, let me talk to you just for a minute about my time as a professional security guard. Now, I was hired to be a security guard, I think largely because I am breathing. The training consisted of me being handed my uniform, which I must say that uniform, not attractive. I did not look my best, and this was when I was younger, and I should have looked good. I was in shape. So I got my uniform, and I was told I was going to sit at a desk, and I was going to work from 11 p.m. until 7 a.m. And I had a sign-in sheet. I had a sign-in sheet right there, okay, a piece of paper, and there was a pen, all right? And I was to monitor if there was anybody coming to work to sign in. Now, this was not a business that was open at night. So there were not going to be any sign-ins during my whole shift. But I was there to monitor. I was the eyes and ears of that front desk. And then I believe I had to, twice during my shift, I had to walk around. I was told a certain, a floor, I was going to walk around that floor. All right, and I was going to be eyes and ears. All right, so here I am, eyes, okay, and ears. All right, and I'm looking and I'm trying to see if there's anything suspicious. Now, of course, in my training, I had been told if there was anything suspicious to call the police. I had no weapon. I didn't even have a walkie-talkie. Even though I do, and I'm sure I look tough. I probably look scary. I don't know any self-defense. But I did my job. Okay, I was there. I stayed awake. That was really one of the more challenging parts of that job. And I monitored. I walked around. Okay, I was eyes and ears. And the only way I could make more money, was after a certain amount of time you could get a raise. Now, let's say I started at $4.25 an hour at this job. If I got an extra 50 cents, I'd be at $4.75 an hour. Now, would that be better than $4.25? Yes. We don't have to be math geniuses. More money is better, right? How dramatically could I change my life between $4.25 and $4.75? Could I get a different apartment? Could I eat fancier food than ramen? Probably not. And I know a lot of you that might be younger are thinking, who would work for $4.25 or $3.85? I'm just telling young people, the minimum wage, it used to be lower. Now it's way up there. I mean, you're talking $7, some states, $8, okay? Big money now, big money. So when you're working an hourly job, like many of you do and many of us have done, including myself, the only way you make more money is either you just work there long enough and they'll give you a little bit more money, but it's not going to be dramatic. You don't typically go from $8 an hour to $28 an hour all at once. You may work your way up over a career. The thing about money, of course, that we all have to remember is that it's not how much we make, but it's how much we keep. And that, of course, has been reflected in some of the challenges that we've seen in our society and in our culture. A lot of us, certainly myself, I had very poor financial literacy. I was excited. As soon as I got money, I spent money. If in my mind, I made $1,000 a month at one point, in my mind, I thought, well, I certainly can afford a $500 a month apartment. I certainly can afford a $300 a month car note. No, not really. Because I hadn't added in, if there's an emergency, I hadn't added in those basics, like food and utilities and everything else. And I was stretched to my limit when I was younger. So when you look at money and you look at an opportunity to earn more money at your job, I want to, again, let's be pragmatic. I'm always pragmatic. The only way that you're really going to earn dramatically more money is if you have different skills. In other words, what are people paying you to do? Now, let's say that I had decided to stay as a security guard. I had decided I was, really school. I mean, ugh. If I had decided to stay as a security guard, and if I had just waited, now I know many of you look at me and think, oh, gosh, she's so young. Thank you. But this was a while ago. So I could have just waited, and my pay would have probably doubled by now because minimum wage has gone up, right? Remember, we always know what we can and can't do when we look at the law. And the law, the federal minimum wage, tells you what is the absolute lowest amount of money that somebody can pay you to work in this country. The lowest. And so it's gone up. I mean, I started working, it was $3.85 and it was $4.25, and now it's over $7 and over $8 in some places. So I could have just gotten in that job, stayed in there, done my best, showed up, okay, and my pay would have doubled. I could have gotten at least $8 by now, or who knows, maybe 10. So that is one option. Get in a job, do your best. If you find something that you enjoy, stick with it. One, probably over time, you'll have some sort of pay increase. And then also over time, of course, the law, over time, and I mean this may be decades, will give you an opportunity to make a little bit more money. The other thing that you always want to consider is, if this is how much money this job is worth, then maybe I need to look at gaining skills so I can do a different job that's paid a different rate. So for instance, when I worked as a waitress in the food industry, waitressing usually is paid less than minimum wage. You get less than minimum wage because you're supposed to get tips, okay, to make up for it. Well, if you work at a fancy restaurant, you may make a lot of money. If you work at a fast food place, you may not make as much. So you want to look at the job. How much does this job pay? Frequently, I'll talk to people, and as many of you know, I've been around the country. I've also been in other countries, meeting you, doing women's conferences and those types of activities. A lot of people come to me, and women, and they say, I want to make more, and I've been at this, and I don't know what I can do. And the reality is, if that job only pays that range, that's what you're going to make. So if you're in a job that pays $8 to $15 for somebody who's been there 10 years, that's probably what they're going to pay you. They're probably not going to come in and say, oh, we're going to give you $50 an hour because you're awesome. I mean, you are awesome. But if you want to get $50 an hour, you have to look at what jobs pay that much. And usually it's contingent on skills. And the skills are often tied to education. Now, I've had the opportunity, which I relish, I really enjoy, and I hope to get to do more of it, of talking to young people. And I went to a juvenile incarceration center here in Texas, where I live, where I'm based, and I was invited to come to this juvenile incarceration center. It's like a little jail for little kids. And they have kids as young as 11 who've had issues, challenges, okay, incarcerated for criminal challenges. But they're young, so they're little kids. So as young as 11, and then of course up through teenagers. And so I was brought in and I got to do two parts. The first part, they brought me in this big sort of auditorium area. And everybody came in, and it was a sort of a military theme. To the kids were sort of in sort of military looking outfits, and then the adults were kind of in sort of military outfits, and then they made them get in formation and made them line up. As many of you know who've worked with me, I was raised an Army brat, so I'm very familiar with military culture, and I think there's some good benefits to structure. So the young kids are in there in this big room, and I was trying to talk to them about opportunities for money, opportunities for them to achieve their dreams. And when I talked to the young people, many of the young gentlemen expressed to me they want to be professional athletes or musicians, rap stars, rock stars. They were very excited about that. And a lot of the young ladies, and yes, lots of young ladies there, were excited to tell me they were going to be models. Well, they were going to be supermodels. Or maybe they would be famous actresses or movie stars. These are absolutely laudable and wonderful goals. They are. And who am I, or who is anybody to tell someone whether or not that dream is realistic? Because as we all know, if we have the skills and we put the work in, we can achieve those goals. The challenge is some of those jobs require specific skills, like supermodeling. Usually it does require the skill that someone is born tall, with the genes and the ability to be tall. For instance, I myself, some of you may wonder, why did I not go into supermodeling? Well, thank you for wondering. A lot of the issues have to do with the fact that, I'm short. I'm like 5'3". So they don't have many supermodels my size. I am really short. And that's something that even if I really dreamed hard, if I laid my head down at night and I said, oh, universe, make my dreams come true, am I going to wake up and be 5'10"? Probably not. Is it possible? Sure. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. Anything. Is it probable? Is it likely? No. So I'm giving this speech to the young people, and a lot of it had to do with money. How can I make more money? And they had these goals of being professional athletes, movie stars, and supermodels in terms of income are excellent. These are excellent goals. There was a supermodel over a decade ago who was, I think, maybe misquoted, but said something along the lines of, I won't get out of bed, for less than $10,000. Who blames her, right? Professional athletes, millionaires. Movie stars, millionaires. These are all very high income jobs. These are admirable. The problem is they're extremely limited. When you look at this country of 300 million people, you look at the hundreds of millions of working adults, how many of them are earning a living as a supermodel, professional athlete, or a movie star? Percentage-wise, nominal. So unless you have those natural skills, like you're gifted as an athlete, you're tall enough and you have the right look to be a supermodel, then these might not be attainable. I can't make myself taller. I can't make myself an athlete of a certain caliber if I have none of the genetic attributes. But here's the thing. Can I learn another language? Yes. Could I learn a professional skill if I really wanted to be an engineer? Could I put my mind to it and learn engineering? Yes. Could I learn how to be a lawyer, which is one of the things I did? Yes. Could I go earn my MBA, which is another, I love business. Could I earn that? Yes. Those are things I could do. So I'm talking to the young people. I'm trying to be pragmatic. They're already having challenges. They're already facing the situation where they're incarcerated. And I'm trying to help them think about money realistically. The concept should be a basic financial literacy, and there's some fantastic experts out there in the field already that I recommend. Certainly come to my website, and who are already out there helping people understand how do I build an emergency fund, what are sort of the basics of managing my finances in my life. the issue of how much money I can make at my job is going to be, again, directly tied and correlated to what are my skills. Because they're not paying me because I'm Courtney Anderson or paying me because I'm Becky Smith. They're paying you for your skills. They're not paying us for our awesomeness. If they just paid us because we were us, because we're fantastic, wonderful, interesting people, then we would all be, extremely wealthy. Who wouldn't be? Look at us, we're awesome. They're paying us for our skills. So a professional athlete is paid because those skills are extremely rare. How many people can, win a Super Bowl? So the people who can, they get paid more. And it's the same thing when you look at whether I was working in food service as a minimum wage worker or working as a security guard or working as an attorney. I'm the same person. I decided I wanted to acquire some additional skills. So when I talked to the young people and I was excited, they're there, they're trying to get on a better path to improve their lives, and I'm trying to share with them and motivate them. How excited do you think that they were to hear me start talking about education and skill acquisition? I mean, the little 11-year-olds, and after I did the big general session, I got to go back behind the locked part where it was a multiple entry steel gate type situation. And I got to meet the group that was having so many challenges that they weren't able to attend the first session because they couldn't be out in that general population. This was a little bit more, shall we say, hardcore group. And again, how excited do you think they were to hear somebody come in and start talking about skill acquisition and school and education and training? They weren't that excited, but I tried to break it down into money. If you don't have any skills, you don't have any education, meaning you didn't finish even high school. Maybe you're someone who does not have a GED, does not have a high school education. Go look on any job posting and look and see how many jobs do not require at least a GED or a high school education. There are very few and far between. So there are going to be very few jobs that you can do, and they're almost all going to be low wage. Why? It's about the skills that the person has. The more specialized the skills, the more money. Let's repeat, the more specialized the skills, the more money. So that's why when you look at education and skill acquisition, you see more money. Somebody who becomes a licensed electrician, they can make really good money. I have someone I know who's a barber, actually. Went out, opened his own barber shop, and brings in, his net. His net, what he pays himself, is over $12,000 a month. That's good money. Now, he's a very, very professional person, and he works really hard. He has a specific skill, and then he also runs a business with that skill. But if he hadn't acquired the skill and gotten his barber training and license, he couldn't do it. It wouldn't matter how much he wanted it. He still had to go through the education. It doesn't matter whether it's being a scientist or a lawyer or a doctor or a cosmetologist or a barber or an electrician. Whatever it is, you have to put time into it and you have to make sacrifices. And so I tried to the best of my ability, with these young people, to have them think about all the things that they want, right? Luxury cars, and I asked them, I said, what is it that you want when you grow up? When you're an adult, what kind of car will you drive? And I heard Mercedes, heard Lexus, they're all fancy. Cadillacs, it was wonderful. Escalades. I said, great. How are you going to get it? How are you going to earn that money? And the interesting thing was the same thing that I heard from a lot of these young people about wanting to acquire these things. It was sort of similar, and this is just my own anecdotal experience. But when I started law school, I was really young. I was 20 years old when I went to law school. And I remember being in orientation, and everybody's sort of talking and, new and meeting each other, and I'm sort of just listening. And I heard a lot of people, and it's a 3-year program. So these are people who've already been to college for at least 4 years. Now they're going to go for another 3 years on top of it to get this law degree and hopefully a law license. And they're talking, and I heard people talking about the cars they were going to have. And it reminded me of sort of these young people all these years later telling me, and they were very similar. And having a goal is always laudable. But you have to be pragmatic and realistic about it. Are you willing to put in the hard work and sacrifice to gain the skills to be able to be paid what it is that you think you should be. And then I'm going to add this on the end. If you are able to earn the money, whatever it is, right? Then you have to be pragmatic about money and its role in your life, because I've seen it happen. I've done bankruptcies for people in my law firm. They were making great money. Something happened. Someone lost their job. They got sick. And people were in way over their heads. I've seen people with $800, $900 a month car notes. Okay, the person's thinking, well, I make 10 grand a month. That's fine. Yeah, but what happens when your income is cut? And does anybody really need $2,000 or $3,000 a month in car notes? And it's not, again, how much you make, it's what you do with it. So how do I make more money at my job? One, you have to be realistic and honest that it's going to be hard. You're going to have to sacrifice, and either skill acquisition, education. And then after you go through all that trouble to get the skills and the credentials, maybe you've got your cosmetology license, or you've got your barber license, or you're an attorney. Now you have to go out and you have to work. And every day you've got to treat your clients appropriately. You've got to be ethical in your business. You've got to be organized. So it's always going to be hard work. But I'll tell you this, I would much rather put in the time working as an attorney where I can bill a lot more than $4.85 an hour. I'd much rather put that time in. Is it hard work? Yes. Is it easier than working some of the jobs I worked that were minimum wage? In some ways it is. In some ways it is. So you can do it. But you're going to have to be honest. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some sacrifice. Once you get the skills, then you get out there and you put the hard work with those skills, and you can earn whatever amount that you feel that you should be earning. Come join us at CourtneyAnderson.com, and thank you for watching today.